everyone, welcome to our course, Green Economy from China's Stories. Today, I will introduce an important hypothesis in environmental economics, that is, environmental carciness curve, or EKC for short. First, let's talk about the environmental carciness curve hypothesis and its origin. The carciness curve was introduced by Carcinus, the American Nobel Prize winner in economics in the 1950s, in the study of per capita income and distributive equity. Carcinus found that with the increase in per capita income, the distribution of income showed a trend of deterioration and then improvement. The scatter plot drawn on this thread is inverted U-shaped, which was called Carcinus curve later. In 1991, the American economists Grossman and Kruger found in a study that pollutants rose with the GDP per capita at low income levels and decreased with the GDP per capita at high income levels. But they didn't study the phenomenon further since they immersed in the study of North American free trade negotiation at that time. Until 1993, with the model of Carcinus curve, scholar Panayotto named the relationship between the environmental quality and per capita income as environmental carciness curve, or EKC for short, for the first time. E in the EKC stands for the environment. After the introduction of the origin of EKC, let's take a look at its form. As you can see, in the environmental carciness curve, the abscissa represents GDP per capita and the ordinate represents environmental pollution indicator. These two indicators vary according to the studies. It indicates the relationship between regional economic development and pollution. The form of environmental carciness curve varies in many past studies, but the most common form is inverted U-shaped, similar to the curve on the screen. What's the meaning of this curve? The level of environmental pollution is lower in countries with a lower level of economic development. It will increase as the per capita income increases and will deteriorate with the economic growth. After the economic development reaches a certain level or reaches a critical point or turning point, the level of environmental pollution will decrease. As the per capita income increases and the environmental quality will gradually improve. This phenomenon is called environmental carciness curve. Why the curve is inverted U-shaped? There are 5 main explanations. The first explanation is that from the view of technology and industrial structure in the early stage of social development, the production technology is fallen behind. There is a huge waste of energy consumption, and people pursue the economic growth at the cost of natural resources. Therefore, the environmental pollution rises with economic growth. But the development of the economy, the level of technology will be improved. When the technology develops to a certain level, people can conduct production activities with more advanced technology and take more advanced measures to deal with the waste generated in the production process. In addition, the technological improvement will directly lead the traditional high pollution manufacture industry to transfer to a more energy-saving and environmentally friendly high-tech industry. leading to a reduction in the environmental pollution. The second explanation is that from the view of environment quality demand. At the beginning, people's income is low and the living standard is poor. They have no time to care about the surroundings and just want to improve their income and living standard by every possible means. In such social conditions, people would engage in some high pollution industry with low technical requirements and pursue more economic benefits at the cost of natural resources. But as income rises, people will focus their health and living comfort and other aspects instead of money. At this time, people pay more attention to environment quality. Thus, they start to take serious measures to reduce environmental pollution. The third explanation is that the inverted U-shaped curve of EKC is caused by international trade. In the early stage of development, the productivity level of a country is relatively backward. When engaged in international trade, the country is mainly engaged in low-end manufacturing. But as the economy develops and labor force improves, the country gradually moves from low-end to high-end industries and transfers its high pollution industry to a more backward country. Through international trade to realize the improvement of domestic environment quality. The fourth explanation is that awareness of environmental protection strengthens as the income level arises. People are inclined to purchase environment-friendly products and resist products that waste a lot of resources. Increased resources utilization helps reduce the cost of products, making the environment-friendly products more advantageous in the market. Finally, it forces the manufacturing enterprise to move to the production of environment-friendly products through advanced production process. Therefore, the level of environmental pollution will decline in later period. The last explanation is that the inverted U-shaped curve is caused by policy intervention. The government is not active in formulating environment policies since the pollution is not serious at the beginning. When environmental pollution reaches a certain level, the environmental quality is beginning to attract the attention of the government, and then the government begins to launch stricter policies to protect the environment. Therefore, the environmental pollution is under control and restored gradually. Well, after the theoretical explanation of the environmental carciness curve, let's take a look at the characteristics of this curve. The EKC has four main characteristics, namely uncertain specific form, uncertain turning point, uncertain variable, and uncertain peak value. For the first characteristic, as we have mentioned previously, that the form of the environmental carciness curve is uncertain, and it varies according to the region, indicator, and other factors selected. In addition to the common inverted U-shaped curve, there are synchronous curve, U-shaped curve, and N-shaped curve. For the second characteristic, the turning point of EKC varies with the time of the intervention and economic development, which may be reached sooner or later. For the third characteristics, it reflects the explaining variables and explained variables. In addition to per capita GDP, the explaining variables can use per capita income to reflect the socio-economic situation. The explained variables include various pollutant concentration and comprehensive indicator for certain environmental pollution. For the last characteristic, the peak value is uncertain due to the leftover issues, the effect of policy implementation, and other factors. What's more, the position of the peak value cannot be estimated accurately. Peak values can only be minimized through active environmental policies. We have mentioned that the form of EKC is unfixed. Now, let's take a look at other forms of it. The first one is the synchronous curve. In this case, there is a positive correlation between environmental pollution and the level of economic development. The reason why this situation occurs is that the environment is not improved with economic development, or the EKC hypothesis is not suitable for the global environment indicator, or the region has not yet reached the turning point of environmental improvement, etc. The second one is the U-shaped curve. This may be due to the use of special indicators in measuring the level of environmental pollution, such as forest felling or some special economic activities or policies, making the EKC U-shaped. The third one is N-shaped curve. In this case, the curve starts with the inverted U-shaped pattern, but it changes into U-shaped pattern after reaching certain time point. The main cause of this phenomenon is the irregular restructuring of environmental pressure and economic growth. There are many explanations on restructuring. Here are two brief points. One is factor of policy. Due to weakness of environmental policy at the early stage, recovery from the energy crisis has weakened people's awareness of environment protection. The other is factor of economy. The rate of economic growth exceeds the rate of material loss. Today, we have introduced and studied the origin, meaning, reasons, and characteristics of the environmental carcinogens curve hypothesis. I hope all of you could have a systematical understanding of it. That's all for today. Thank you. See you next time.